Liverpool stands on England's northwest edge, where the River Mersey widens and breathes into the Irish Sea. In the early 19th century, this threshold between river and ocean powered one of the most formidable port cities on earth. Home to roughly 78,000 people, Liverpool thrived on global trade. Cotton from the Americas, sugar from the Caribbean, tobacco from the colonies. These commodities flowed through its docks and warehouses, generating immense wealth that reshaped the skyline with Georgian townhouses, civic buildings, and orderly squares. Yet prosperity was unevenly shared. Behind elegant facades lay crowded courts and cellars, where smoke hung low, disease spread quickly, and streets churned with mud and manure. This was a city of ambition and hardship, refinement and desperation, bound together by the rhythm of the tide. Today, AI-driven reconstruction allows us to translate faded engravings and oil-stained maps into living spaces once more. As the camera drifts above the river, through fog and clattering masts, we step back into the Liverpool our ancestors knew, restless, booming, and on the edge of a global empire. At the very center of Liverpool's civic life rose the Town Hall, a building designed to impress, intimidate, and declare authority. Rebuilt after a catastrophic fire in 1795, its refined Georgian form symbolized the city's resilience and confidence at the height of its commercial power. Largely designed by John Wood the Elder, the hall announced to visiting merchants and foreign captains alike that Liverpool was no provincial town, but a global trading force. Inside, the lower chambers hosted council meetings where port regulations, taxes, and infrastructure were debated, shaping the flow of imperial commerce. Above them, grand ballrooms glittered beneath chandeliers, filled with ship owners, cotton brokers, and political elites who governed trade through social ritual as much as law. High atop the dome stands the statue of Minerva, Roman goddess of wisdom, war, and commerce, surveying the Mersey like a silent guardian. For AI reconstruction, imagine a slow upward camera sweep, stone glowing in lamplight, carriage wheels echoing below, as Liverpool's power crystallizes in carved sandstone and polished oak. For generations of sailors, Liverpool revealed itself not through warehouses or docks, but through a single spire rising above the Mersey's mist. At high tide, river water pressed against the churchyard walls, blurring the boundary between sacred ground and working port. An engraving from 1808 captures this moment of calm confidence, just before catastrophe struck. On a February Sunday in 1810, as bells rang and families gathered, the spire collapsed without warning into the nave below, killing 25 people, many of them children from the charity school. The shock rippled through the city, echoing along the docks and counting houses. Yet Liverpool rebuilt, as it always did. In reconstruction, the camera lingers on falling stone, muffled screams, then fades to scaffolding and renewal beneath a soot-darkened sky. St. John's Market, opened in 1822, was where Liverpool's daily life converged in noise, motion, and necessity. Built over the former churchyard of St. John's, its vast iron-columned hall represented a new Victorian confidence in order, engineering, and control. Cast iron supports lifted the roof high above hundreds of stalls, creating one of the city's first regulated indoor markets. Here, meat, fish, vegetables, and household goods arrived from docks and countryside alike, feeding a population that had surged beyond 100,000. The market dissolved social boundaries. Middle-class housekeepers brushed past dock laborers' wives, all counting coins carefully, all negotiating survival. The floor stayed slick with crushed greens and spilled brine, while the air mixed fish oil, damp wool, and unwashed bodies. Pickpockets thrived in the press of bodies, and voices echoed endlessly beneath the iron frame. Yet this was the city's stomach, essential to its functioning before modern retail. For AI reconstruction, imagine a tracking shot at waist height, baskets swinging, steam rising, light filtering through grimy glass onto relentless human movement. This modest structure housed one of Liverpool's most radical ideas. Founded by Edward Rushton, a blind poet and committed abolitionist, the School for the Indigent Blind transformed compassion into practical reform. Rushton had lost his sight while caring for enslaved Africans aboard a ship, an experience that bound Liverpool's maritime wealth to its human cost. Opened in 1800, The purpose-built school offered blind children training in basket weaving, brush making, and music, skills that promised independence rather than lifelong begging. Discipline shaped daily life, with early rising, strict routines, and learning guided by touch and sound. Adjacent stood a working windmill, one of dozens that once punctuated Liverpool's skyline, grinding grain for a growing city. Together they formed a landscape where charity, labour, and industry overlapped. In cinematic reconstruction, the camera enters dim interiors, hands tracing wood and rope, the rhythmic creak of the mill outside, underscoring a quiet revolution in social responsibility. When railway expansion erased the building in the 1,850 seconds, Rushton's ideals endured, living on in the Royal School for the Blind that still operates today. Street Ann's Church stood slightly apart from the noise of docks and markets, offering a fragile sense of order in a city expanding faster than tradition could manage. Built to serve Liverpool's swelling population, churches like this functioned as far more than places of worship. They recorded births, marriages, and deaths, ran charity schools, distributed poor relief, and anchored communities increasingly fractured by migration and industrial labour. The surrounding churchyard filled rapidly, graves packed tightly as epidemics and overcrowding claimed lives with brutal efficiency. Industrial success left its mark even here. Coal smoke from nearby chimneys slowly darkened the stone walls, each layer of soot recording another year of prosperity and pollution. As Liverpool's economy accelerated, these parish systems strained under the pressure. Within decades, many 18th century churches would be demolished, rebuilt, or simply erased, replaced by warehouses, rail lines, and commercial infrastructure. In AI reconstruction, the camera drifts across weathered masonry, soot-streaked carvings, and tightly clustered headstones, while distant hammering and steam whistles intrude, signaling a city reshaping itself at the expense of its past. The Lyceum was Liverpool's bid for intellectual legitimacy, a space where commercial wealth sought cultural authority. Completed in 1802, it housed England's first purpose-built subscription library, an institution founded decades earlier by a small literary society eager to elevate the town's reputation. For merchants enriched by Atlantic trade, this circular sanctuary offered escape from smoky coffee houses, where deals were shouted over clinking cups and tobacco haze. Inside, more than 10,000 volumes lined the walls beneath a soaring dome, while the newsroom provided newspapers from London, Ireland, and provincial towns, connecting Liverpool to national debate. Membership transformed traders into gentlemen scholars, at least for an evening, discussing philosophy and politics beneath busts of Shakespeare, Milton, and Homer. The building embodied an aspiration that a port known for profit could also claim refinement. For AI reconstruction, imagine a slow rotating camera beneath the dome, candlelight flickering across leather spines and polished wood, murmured conversation replacing dockside clamour. Though its function has changed many times, the Lyceum survives today, preserved by public effort as a fragile monument to Liverpool's cultural ambition. Though its function has changed many times, the Lyceum survives today, preserved by public effort as a fragile monument to Liverpool's cultural ambition. On the city's northern edge, gallows mills mark the uneasy boundary between urban Liverpool and the fading countryside. In 1825, these windmills ground grain for a population still reliant on local food supplies, their sails turning steadily above fields and scattered cottages. The name carried a darker memory. Nearby stood the gallows, a site of public execution where authority was enforced through spectacle, including the hanging of Scottish rebels after the uprising of 1715. The contrast was stark, cattle grazing peacefully, while instruments of justice loomed close by. In cinematic reconstruction, the camera pans slowly across open land, sails creaking in the wind, then dissolves into streets and smoke, visualizing the city's relentless advance over landscape and memory. Lime Street Station announced that Liverpool's future would no longer be shaped by wind and tide alone, but by steam, iron, and speed. Opened in 1836, this neoclassical terminus connected the port directly to Manchester via the world's first intercity passenger railway. What had once taken 4 exhausting hours by coach could now be completed in 90 minutes, revolutionizing the movement of people, raw materials, and manufactured goods. Cotton, unloaded at the docks, could reach inland mills with unprecedented efficiency, tightening Liverpool's role within Britain's industrial network. The station was more than infrastructure, it was a statement of intent. Liverpool, already dominant at sea, would also command the land routes of a modern empire. Although the original structure was demolished in 1849 to meet soaring demand, its symbolic impact endured. In AI Reconstruction, the camera tracks a steam locomotive emerging through smoke and echoing arches, crowds gathering in awe. This moment marked a turning point, when the city fused maritime power with industrial momentum, reshaping Britain's economy and accelerating the global reach of Liverpool's trade.